Well, there's about three different sets of misperceptions. The old one is, of course, the old cliche of a land of poverty, suffering, the begging bowl, the naked fakir on his bed of nails. I mean, those images, the snake charmer, that image of India, which I think is gradually being supplanted, but it has still a hold on the popular imagination because it was drilled into people's minds and eyes for decades, if not centuries. And that image is being gradually dispelled, I think, by the new India of software geeks and computer gurus. So maybe that's changing, but that's certainly one image that I'd like to dispel. The second image is perhaps the paradoxical one of the land that's stealing away American jobs. There's now an increasing sense of jobs being outsourced to Bangalore. You know, people get laid off and they say, I've been Bangalored. In fact, India has only created 1 million IT jobs in the last 10 years, and during that time America has shed 3 million jobs, but each of those 3 million Americans is looking at those 1 million jobs in India and saying, that's my job. So there is that sense of stereotyping, of misunderstanding, which I think needs to be dispelled, both because it's not true, but also because it plays into a very negative and unconstructive view of today's globalization, which I think is worth dispelling in the interests of Americans and Indians. And the third set of images probably is of exotic India, the land of yoga, and of course the movies of Bollywood and the ashrams and retreats where people can go and sit in the Himalayas and meditate. And that sort of image got a boost really in the late 60s with the Beatles going off and learning transcendental meditation from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And from then on, you've had the likes of Madonna and Goldie Hawn going off to India. You've had Richard Gere discovering the Dalai Lama in India. You've had a sort of opening up to this spirituality and otherworldly yearnings that come from Indian experience. Now, that's not a bad thing. In fact, each of these three stereotypes has some kernel of truth, and I don't want to deny that. Poverty is real. There are 260 million Indians who live on the wrong side of a poverty line that's been drawn just this side of the funeral pyre. So it's real, but it's being overcome, and the other India isn't sufficiently known. The second cliche, as I said, yes, some jobs are being created in India that were lost in America, but it's not the whole story. And third, on the exoticism and the spirituality and the otherworldliness, that's true too. We have more than our fair share of gurus and godmen and seekers of truth and so on. And we do have something to offer to people who want to look for that kind of truth back in India. But having said that, it's also true to say that India is in many ways not that different from any other country in the world. It's full of people who are trying to make a living, give their kids a decent education, get 3 meals a day, put a roof over their heads, try and achieve some conventional aspirations in life, including financial and material security. And that aspect of India as a normal society, going beyond the cliches of the three kinds of stereotypes I described to you, is something that I would like people to be more conscious of. And I think in America, the increasing numbers of Indian Americans, now up to about 3 million in this country, is beginning to change that for the better. Because when you see Indians are folks just like you, who dress like you, who talk like you, who work like you, but they're Indian, and they go back to families, or at least at the very least ancestors and relatives in India, that changes the way you think about India too, and I think that's been positive.